So my landlord shows up to inspect the house, and I'm like, I had just accepted at this point. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. I'm not gonna worry about it. Just go through and let me know. And she goes through, does the walkthrough on the house, and comes to me afterwards, and I'm like, just waiting for the news. And she goes, everything looks great. I'll send you your security deposit back. It was great having you live here. And I'm like, what? It was like another one of those just totally reality shattering moments where I'm like, this shit fucking works. It's not just making me feel better. It's making my entire reality shift around me in my benefit. And I'm just like, okay, holy fuck. That moment, I was like, I'm signing up for the phase 2 retreat. They had just put out a retreat. I was like, I'm the first one signing up, paid in full, let's fucking go. Now, by they, I mean Andre and Sam, who are the two people who brought this information to me. So I can now bring it to you. I go to this retreat, okay? At this point, I had quit my job. I had decided to just follow my feelings and let it all work out. I was still not sure what the fuck was going to happen or what I was doing, but I was like, this works, so I'm just committing. I'm going all in. I'm quitting my job. I'm going to this retreat. At this retreat, every belief that was still lingering started to get shattered one by one. Andre's leading the retreat, and Andre, you can read the whole backstory about him in quantum networking, but he was mentored years before by this wealthy guy named Peter, who was also mentored by this other wealthy guy named Kevin, etc., etc., etc. And it goes back for millennia, this mentorship being passed down from generation to generation from wealthy people about phase 2. Now, they didn't necessarily call it phase 2 at the time, and you can read more about it in quantum networking, but that was the term that it was brought to me as. And Sam was the first one of this long lineage of mentor to mentee explaining this information. It's basically ancient knowledge to the public. And that's how I found her. So I get in her circle, come to the retreat, everything is breaking down. And I remember sitting outside at the retreat. We had a lot of downtime, okay? There was a lot of sitting with myself moments, without my phone, without anything. And I remember sitting outside in the sun, and it was like I was sitting there in silence, and everything felt like it was just piecing together the same way that it did during my intense mushroom trip from the beginning. And I was like, oh my God, I don't need mushrooms. The mushrooms never even created that experience. It was all me. It was all me simulating it. I just, at the time, used the mushrooms because my awareness wouldn't let me see that I could just have that experience without the mushrooms. So I'm just letting all these pieces come together, and I'm like, holy shit. Nobody there was actually giving me any answers. I was getting them all from inside of myself. And I was spending more and more time being okay with just sitting there with myself in silence. And all I'm doing is feeling my feelings and letting everything just organize itself. And I'm watching my mind do this. I'm like, this is so crazy. I didn't know all these answers were here. All the years I've been told to look within. It's the inner work. Go inside. You have the answers inside you, blah, blah, blah. It never occurred to me to just sit there and pay attention to how I feel in myself. It just had never been that simple, but now it was. So as I'm doing this, we get to this point where the retreat's over, it's the last day, and Andre comes to me, and he's like, I want to mentor you. And this feeling of just total knowing washed over me, where I was like, of course I am the chosen one. Of course I am. Out of everybody, all the other 10 people here, of course I'm the one you're choosing to mentor. Because it's all me. I'm the main character. And it was like I was finally allowing myself to own that it was all me and that I was creating this reality. And of course you want to mentor me. And of course that I get to have everything I want. And I go back and he's like, okay, so, come back in a month. And you can stay near us in Scottsdale and get mentorship in person for like a month, right? It's just this temporary thing. And I'm like, okay, cool. Sounds great. I'll totally be there. I have nothing going on. What the fuck? I'm in. I go home, back in my boyfriend's apartment where I was staying at the time. And he works these long 12-hour shifts as a paramedic, so he's basically never home, and I don't have a job. So I just got done with this retreat, and all I wanted to do was just continue to sit with myself in silence. Okay, that's all I wanted to do. I was like, I can't socialize with my friends right now because they don't understand what the fuck I'm going through. I can't talk to my best friend. I can't even hardly talk to my boyfriend because he doesn't know what's going on either. Doesn't understand. I just wanted to be alone in silence with my thoughts. And that's exactly what I did. So for about 13 days after getting home from the retreat, I spent every single day, every moment that I wasn't eating or going for a walk to the grocery store to get groceries, or like spending time with my boyfriend. Anytime that I wasn't doing those three things, which was only some of the time, I was sitting, I had this blanket and this love sack, sitting in my boyfriend's living room, staring at the wall. And I call this the point of my life where I melted out of the matrix. Because it was like every single story came up about, okay, I need to go search for a job. I need to go figure out how to make money. I should talk to my friends. I should talk to my family. I should do this. I should do that. I should be making content on social media. I should be trying to figure out how I'm going to start my own business. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. Blah, 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 blah. Every single story came up. Every one. And I resisted the urge to move. I just was like, I am not fucking moving until I know for sure that it's my intuition and my feelings showing me what my next move is. Otherwise, I'm just gonna sit here and do nothing. And so I sat and I felt and I cried and I screamed and everything that was coming up, like memories from my past, stories, all kinds of shit was coming up. And it got to this point where one night I was laying on the floor in the carpet, and the realization was hitting me really hard. What I had seen in my mushroom trip, but I hadn't let myself see sober. That my life was inherently meaningless, and I was the only one that exists. I was alone. Nobody ever would understand what I'm going through because it's all me. So these two existential truths, which I have discovered at this point, is exactly what you've been avoiding this whole time. That your life is inherently meaningless and there is nobody else that exists but you. You are all alone. These are the two existential truths that set you free. And they set me free that night. They set me free like it's nobody's business. And it's like a portal.